This is Rosie of the Healthy Knitting Podcast, and I think today might be episode 8. You know what? I'm really not sure. Today is October 15th, 2013, and I have a guest host today. This is my cat Buddy, and Buddy, because I've been very busy this past time, is very needy right now, and he needs lots and lots of attention, so he will be making a lot of attempts to get me to pet him instead of paying attention to what I'm doing. So just letting you know. We have a lot going on today, and it's early in the morning. I guess this room works good with the light too. I was really surprised. I didn't realize because I haven't been using this room for a while. It's recently reclaimed. So anyway, let's get started. I almost podcasted last week, and then well, you'll see, lots of stuff happened, and then I didn't have a chance to do it. So here we are today, and the reason why it's early is because, and I'm in my painting clothes. I have a little bit of painting to do, just quickly, but I want to get it out of the way before I have to actually put on any decent clothes. So here we go. Let's do thank yous. A big thank you to my friends this week for helping me. I had a tag sale, and sorry, I have notes on my iPad here, and it just shut down because I didn't change the shutdown button. I have friends who have those portable tables, and so I borrowed 3 of those for my tag sale, which I decided to do after I talked to them at knitting and going, I don't know what to do, and they're like, well, we have tables. So I had a tag sale this past weekend, just Saturday and Sunday, and Saturday was really good. I guess we're going to go into the new and good right now. Saturday was really good, lots of traffic, and I didn't even put up a lot of signs. And I live on one, it's not a main road. The main road's back behind me. That's the big main road. But then there's another through road that goes over to another big main road over there. And then just a short road here that's not a whole lot of traffic, but there's a farm this way that has pick your own and everything, and so people do actually use that road a lot to go over to the pick your own farm. And I live on a little dirt road here, so unless you're living on this road, you're not even going to notice it. Anyway, so I put up a couple signs, and people were coming at like 7 something in the morning. I'm still not even ready yet. I'm still taking stuff out of boxes. I spent all day Friday taking everything out of the basement and bringing it upstairs and cleaning it off, and then I'm like trying to put prices on in the morning. I was like, oh my God, but it was great because the first person that came was very sweet and bought a lot of things, and I was very happy. Anyway, so, yeah, I just tell you this part. And what else about the tag sale? Sunday wasn't as good of a day. I think one of my signs fell down, the one up at the main part over there, that road. But it was okay because I didn't feel that great. I was just not feeling wonderful. And I really wanted to go for a walk, but I wound up going for a walk yesterday morning anyway. I wouldn't have felt well enough anyway. 10% of the proceeds went to Blissful Strays. Susan helped me out recently with 2 of my cats, so I like to spread the love around. There are a lot of charitable animal places around here. Like I said, Mid-Hudson Animal Aid just had a fire at their facility, and I was at Cattoberfest for that, which was a ticket was provided for me to go by one of my friends. I love my friends. I have great friends. So that was really fun, and it was they did 50-50 raffles and door prizes and another thing for a glass that someone had donated with a paw print on it. It was hand-blown glass it was super cute. So, and then my neighbor also has a 501(c) started for I think they're mainly with dogs, and another woman who has cats. I mean, it's everywhere. People are very generous with helping animals where I live, so that's fantastic. And I have a stray right now who actually is living right outside there, and I'm going to try to catch him, but he'll let me get not so close to him, but I feed him twice a day, and he's like, okay, I'm good with that, but you can't touch me. But it's getting cold soon, and I don't know what to do because unless he figures it out like there's always a stray cat here every year. And anyway, I'm going to try to see if I can corral this kitty because my neighbor lost her cat who looks very much like him, and that's how I met her. I was like, I saw her sign up. I'm like, I think I have your cat. But it's not her cat. But if this cat needs a home, I think she would be willing to take this kitty in, because he's so much like her cat. So anyway, a lot of cat talk today. So let's see what else is new and good. Oh, my face is almost finished clearing up. So basically, besides the chemical thing that happened, that's not quite finished yet. I still have dry patches here and here, but the jojoba oil is really, really working on keeping my skin soft, and I don't have to apply it 50 times a day, just twice a day, and it's nice. But it was, I think what was making my skin, I did actually have some weird stuff going on, and I thought it was part of that, but it wasn't. The baking soda, that I'm still washing my hair with the baking soda. I don't know if any of you else have tried it, but from Joanna Spring from Knit Spin Farm, she had talked about that on her podcast. I'm like, wow, if I don't have to use shampoo and my hair is nice, that's even better. So I've been using the baking soda. However, baking soda changes the pH on your face. And although I've given you that tip about the vinegar water mix, that's great if you put it on after. But I was washing my face before, going in the shower, and then I'm now changing the pH on my face, and it's getting all crazy. So now that I'm washing my hair like over my head, not getting it on my body, and then rinsing it from the back up and off my body and not on my face, and then doing the vinegar wash after, it's totally clearing up. So I think she had also mentioned doing a vinegar rinse, but I didn't pay attention. So I wasn't doing the vinegar rinse, and I'm probably not going to, just because it's a pain in the neck to do all that stuff. If I probably could I have a little bottle that I have, you do this to it and it comes out. Pump. There we go, pump bottle. But I just thought of that just now. I'm like, okay, well, I could do it that way, because that would be really easy, because I don't really want to bring things in there that I could break and then potentially hurt myself. So, yeah, so that's still working out good with my hair. It actually has a lot of body and control. It's kind of damp right now. I did just wash it and only blow dried it a little, because I normally don't blow dry my hair unless I have to run out the door. I let it dry, and then I style it afterwards, so I'm not damaging my hair too much. But I wanted to try on a couple of things that on and off the needles to show you, so I needed dry hair. Plus, you probably wouldn't want to see me with wet hair, and it doesn't look all that great. So, anyway, so that's good news with the face, almost clear. While I was in my office here reclaiming all my space, I kept taking more pictures of my yarn. I found this is a really great place to take the pictures, especially in late afternoon, because the sun is right behind me. So with the sun behind me, and I put a little white piece of paper on the desk, I'm able to actually get a very accurate color of my yarn. And so it didn't take that long. I thought it was going to take a lot longer, and adding them into Ravelry now is such a snap, knowing that I don't have to go to Flickr and then go to Flickr and move all this stuff around. So I managed to put all of the yarn pretty much up into my stash, and I took pictures of the fiber, but because the fiber's not already in there, that is a big project to actually add it in, so I probably won't do that right now. It was just nice to take the pictures and play with everything, which is another thing that I was going to talk about later in the spinning section. So what else? Oh, so I live in a very artsy area, and it's becoming more so all the time. Beacon, the town across the river, I've been involved with art. They're going to art shows, art openings. They have something called Beacon Open Studios every year, and they also have Second Saturday. And I don't know if any of you have art people in your town, but these are things you can look for, and if not, you can make these suggestions, because it's really fun. The main street of the town, these towns have art galleries, and what happens is everybody stays open really late one night, and they have wine and hors d'oeuvres, and everybody comes to these openings, and so they get to see all of the artwork that you may not normally see if you're working during the week and you can't get there, or you just can't get there until later on in the evening. And it's just really fun, because you get to meet the artists, you get to meet all the people in town. It's like a big hangout, so it's really fun. So last Saturday I did the Beacon Second Saturday, and then a friend of ours also, who you may have seen it when I no, you may not have, but I have two pieces of her art in my living room, and she had an opening for a new gallery in Cold Spring, and so we went to go visit her, and I didn't realize it either, but Cold Spring, New York has First Saturday. So every first Saturday of the month, they stay open, all the galleries. And, you know, I've been to Cold Spring before, but I really didn't notice how cute it was. It's really cute. I'm into the art galleries. I like to look. I like to see what's going on. Oh, and I wanted to talk to you about an installation that I saw. And I was going to look up the name of the artist, and I'm writing all this stuff down, and I forget. There's so many things I want to tell you about. So anyway, in Beacon on Main Street, there's a gallery, and I don't even know the name of it. If I can find it, I'll put it in the show notes. But it was, and then all right, I'm going to stop tangenting. Let me finish this. So basically, you walk in the gallery and you see these huge, huge glossy pictures, and you're like, oh my God, that's gorgeous. What is that? It looks almost like it's lacquered, but it's all these big, bold colors, and you're like, wow, that's beautiful. And you read the sign and you're like mortified. It's industrial pollution, and it's a big photograph. That's why it's glossy. So it looks like it's lacquered. So it's this huge photograph, and as an abstract, it's stunning, and you get up close and you're like, oh my God, wow. And what I really took away from that was the things that we, the things that we think are beautiful when we look at them may actually have a consequence as to the production of how it got made. So, you know, and I just watched a little trailer on this film that's going to hopefully be produced about the clothing industry, on, you know, how little we pay for clothes, especially in the United States. It's not like that in Europe. Clothes are a lot more expensive over there. But we pay very little for our clothing, and we have very little regard for who made it and how it got to be. My whole thing about cotton, and it may not be yours, so, you know, I'm not going to push and I don't have any judgments about it. It's just a personal opinion for me. The cotton you'll find in my collection of stash is basically organic cotton, because I'm trying to but help that industry along by buying their products, because I believe in organic cotton. And it's one of the reasons why I bought a sewing machine, because I wanted to make my own organic clothing at some point. Which I'm going to have to get a new sewing machine anyway, because it won't really work over there. But and am I 100% true to that? Do I buy clothing? Yes, I have bought clothing that is not organic, and I'm trying to move away from that. I think it's very difficult to find clothing that is well made, in your style, and that is produced in a manner that is in a good way. So I wish there was more of it. It's just, I think you really have to seek it out. Like, I was really trying to seek out organic clothing at one point, but it was weird clothing. Like, I can't dress like I'm in a yoga studio all the time. And some of the prints were crazy. And that's another thing. Dyeing can be very toxic if it's done improperly and, you know, without regulations. In certain countries, they can get away with a lot, and they pollute. And so going back to this studio that had the pictures, there were just incredible amounts of waste. And we're not talking like a little space. These are taken from high aerial photos. I don't even know how they got these photographs, but huge, vast amount of land. And you're like, oh my God, that's just so ugly now. But when you first look at it, it's so beautiful, because there's bright reds. There's these swishes of color where it almost looks like paintings, or like frost, but it's actually a big sludge pit with more sludge going in. So the newer sludge is moving away these colors. It was really disturbing. So, but making you aware at the same time. So I've definitely come across an awareness that I won't be able to displace now, because it's so visual in my head. And I think that really helps when you have a big visual. When you read a story, you can read a story and you can be like, oh, well, that's terrible. But when you see a picture, I think the images kind of stay ingrained into your brain. That happens for me anyway. I don't know if it happens for any of you, like how you keep your information, but it was just pretty stunning. So I'll see if I can get the show notes. Maybe there's the artist actually has pictures on his website or something, but it was very interesting. What else is new? Oh, and the third art show I went to Sunday night after my tag sale was my pastel teacher, Gail Finnegan, in Newburgh. And she has a studio there, and she had an opening show with her and I think one of her prior students who actually had moved on to oil. She does pastel, and she was named Hudson Valley's Pastel Artist of the Year. I think it was last year. She's amazing, and I had a great time learning with her. And I didn't take the class in October or September and through October because I thought I was going to be moved by now. I may take it in November. I'm still deciding on what's going on because I really don't know when I'm going to get back to where I need to be and do the stuff I got to do. So, but it was fun to see her work and see my classmates and things like that. That's always fun. And so much has happened, and this isn't even all of it. This is just basically what's happened pretty much the last week and a half, or week, but concentrated dates. Craftsy. I don't know if any of you are artists, but Craftsy keeps adding more classes and more classes and more classes. And I have a bunch on my wish list. It's just I don't even have time to do them right now. So I'm kind of like, you're going to sit in my wish list until I actually have the time to do these classes. But they had a free little class on drawing, figure drawing. And I'm not the best figure drawing person. I did a couple sessions over across the river there where, you could actually sit with a group of people and try to do it. And because I've not had any formal training in that, I did really atrociously. So I basically do watercolor, acrylic, and pastels right now. And I do a little drawing, but it's just for sketches right now. Anyway, so Craftsy has this free class, and it was really good. And if it's any indication on how some of the other classes are going to go, and plus they have a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you don't like it, you can get your money back. But you actually have to be able to watch the class to make sure that you don't like it, which I've taken classes and not even had the chance to look at them because I'll get a couple at a time and then I'm like, oh, I don't have the time to finish. But anyway, money back guarantee, you really can't go wrong with that if you don't like it. But it was a really well done class and I learned a lot, and I'm looking forward to finding a figure drawing get together at some point so I can give some of those tips a try. And Rhinebeck is coming up. I do not know. I'm thinking I'll probably go both days, but I'm probably going to go for inspirational reasons and not because I'm going to buy a lot, because I bought a lot last year because I thought it was my last Rhinebeck because I thought it was going to be gone this year. Funny how that happens. But I don't need any more stuff, and it just means the more stuff I get, I have to transport with me, and that is a task all in itself that's making me a little crazy. So as you can see, this is only a portion of my yarn. I have more over here. You can't see it, and I'm probably not going to show it to you. I mean, obviously my stash is in Ravelry, but it's pretty embarrassing that I have enough, and I don't need any more. And I have stuff that I want to play with. I have fiber that I want to dye, which is what I'll talk about in a little bit. And one of my friends asked me, because they were over at my house at the tag sale looking for stuff that I'm going to actually be selling eventually. And so they came in here and they're like, how do you decide what you're going to make next? And it's funny because when I show you what's on and off the needles, I didn't even know about 3 of these projects, 2 of them anyway, before. They weren't even in my queue. I watched them on a podcast. This is how I get my inspiration. I watch something on a podcast that I missed somewhere on Ravelry, and I'm like, oh my God, I need to make that. And I'll make it like right away. I'll have something in my queue for years, something in the back of my mind that I've wanted to make for a long time. I mean, I've had knitting magazines go back from 98, and especially Interweave. I was my first favorite Interweave knits, and I've had those from 2000 all the way up. And there's tons of things I want to make out of there and Vogue Knitting, but here comes this little project. I'm like, oh my God, I need to make that now. And I do. And other times I'll look at the yarn and I'll be like, oh, what do I have in my queue that will go with that? Or then I'll look at my queue and be like, I really need to make this sweater. It would go perfect in with my clothes. Do I have the right yarn to make this project? And that's harder, I think, for me than actually finding the yarn first and then finding the project for it. Sorry, I can't see what's going on. Okay, so I don't know if anybody has any tips on how they pick out what they're going to make next. Maybe you can post it in our group. And our group is on Ravelry. It's called Healthy Knitting Podcast. And we don't have a lot of activity there. And maybe we can chat a little bit over there. I'm not particularly great at chatting, only because I don't have a lot of time for any extra stuff, and I have so many posts that I have to read for other things that I tend not to be on the forum so much. Although I love Ravelry's platform for forums. It is the best forum platform ever, so kudos to that. It's just I have so many other, like, along with my work that I have to be on, that takes up a lot of my time already. So anyway, if you have some things, maybe you can share it with our other viewers. Okay, so let's go to what's on and off the needles. I watched the oh my word, What Just Watching podcast, and that's a really cute podcast if you're not watching it, but you probably are already. So she made the Right Cat, Rikke. I'm not sure if I'm even pronouncing it correctly. And it's super cute. I love it. It's almost like wearing a kerchief because you got all this extra back here. But the plus on this hat is that you can pull it down and then brim it up and have double thickness on your ears if you're really cold and you don't need a slouch. And I thought that was perfect because it's a dual purpose hat now. And I made this out of Rowan Lima. I knew that. Every time I put on something, I screw up my hair. I have my, hold on, because my iPad's over here with the notes, because then I can't see what I'm doing here. I'm going to stay in frame. I made it with Rowan Lima, which is a fantastic yarn. It's worsted, it's alpaca, merino, and nylon. And if you've ever felt this, it's like, it reminds me of Eco Cloud. It really is a cloud. It's very soft, and this is in the brown color, 887. And I had this yarn. I bought two balls of it, I think on sale at Webb's. It might have been a discontinued color or something. And I was like, what am I going to do with this? It's so pretty. I want to use all of it. I didn't actually. I used 1.64 skeins to make this hat, so I have a little bit left. I don't know what I'll do with it, but he put me in. He's so cute. But the hat is super easy. It's garter stitch. Emily, I almost forgot her name. Emily did hers flat and then seamed it. I didn't want to seam because I wanted to be able to flip it over and wear it, one way or the other. And so I just did it as called for in the pattern. I don't mind purling. It's never been a problem for me. So I also like to knit my pieces flat. I don't like knitting in the round very much for projects because I get the sizing all mixed up. It's all bunched up on the needles, and then I really can't see if anything is getting off, because even though I do a gauge swatch, it doesn't always hold true. Something may change. It may change with me. It may change, if I'm a little bit overexcited about something, or I'm like concentrating too much, or then I'm like so laid back that I'm really loose. So I like to pay attention to the form when I'm knitting, so I tend to knit more flat pieces. And I don't like knitting sleeves in the round. Honestly, it makes me crazy, especially if it's attached to a sweater. And that's like, I don't like sleeves, period. So to make it even more complicated for me drives me insane. So I prefer doing them all flat. So anyway, Right Cat, number 1. I give it a 10 thumbs up. Oh, I love it. It's super comfortable and it doesn't fall off. I did the brim on size 4 and the rest on 7s. And it's super stretchy. They do the German twisted cast on, which I really like. I like the way it looks. You're not going to be able to see it, I don't think. But it has a nice smooth edge. I think it's beautiful. That's the first time I've ever done it. So I learned something new. And then I've been looking around. I don't have a lot of super bulky yarns. I categorize all my yarn by weight. So like all of, well, it's sort of, this is all the cashmere up here. So it goes from thinnest over there, lace weight, up to, it's mostly DK. There's a bulky up there and another bulky, but most of it is on the lighter end, fingering and DK weight. This is all lace weight and fingering weight, and I have it backwards. No, I don't. But there's also special fibers over there. This is all my hand spun, and then I go down to fingering weight for anything but socks, and then socks on the bottom. You can't see that pile. And then everything else is kind of like all by weight, by DK and worsted, Aran, and then I've got the chunky and the bulky and the super bulky on this side over here. But I don't have much of it. So I made 2 sweaters out of Debbie Bliss Como. All right, now I need to go back. And I really like the yarn. It's not great for a garment only because it's kind of like a single ply, and so there's been a lot of pilling on my projects, but the quick and easiness of making them and the softness of this yarn, it's wool and cashmere. And I got it at a really good price on Little Knits. It was like $2 a skein. I mean, really, if it's $2 or $2 a ball, $2 a ball, it's okay if I make a garment out of it and then I have to depill it every once in a while. It was very inexpensive. So anyway, rake hat number 2. Now, I didn't have a lot of yarn, so I used the blue and the silver mixed. And then I ran out of the silver and I had just a little bit of the blue. Like, I used all of the yarn to finish this up. But the thing about this one, it does slouch a little bit. And because it's bulky, I did this on 7s and 10s. It's not as slouchy as the other one, but it does slouch enough. I don't know if you can see that. And you can still also do this one with a brim, but it's not going to brim as much. So it's more like a bowler in a way. Bowler hat. But I thought, again, it's versatile. And I could wear it with either one of my jackets. And it will kind of complement. So, cat number 2. I'm sorry. When I went to Vermont, my friends were sick, and although I didn't really get sick, I came home with a couple little things that didn't accumulate until I wound up getting myself to a point of not sleeping a lot and overdoing things, and then usually that's when my immune system goes down a little bit. And if I have anything around, then I tend to get a little bit of it. I never get like full-blown sick. I'm very healthy usually. Just every once in a while, if I don't get enough sleep or I don't drink enough water or whatever, I kind of feel a little bit run down. Okay, so 3rd project. Yes, I made some stuff. I was stuck sitting down for a little bit while I was doing other things, and so I could knit while I was doing them. This is called the Slip It Cowl. Oh, I didn't tell you. I'll put it in the show notes. Jenny, this is probably a good reason why I don't tell you, because I don't know how to pronounce her name. Fefel? Ella Ray Lace Merino Chunky. This took 1 skein completely. Like, I have maybe this much yarn left over. Did I have enough? Yeah, yep. I actually had to go back out around and redo it, the bind off row, because I didn't actually have enough to finish the original bind off, which is down here. And I wasn't thinking I could have done another couple pattern repeats, but I was underestimating the yarn amount that I had left for the pattern repeat. I got halfway through the ball and I figured, okay, I get halfway with the amount of repeats and then I'll do the bind off and I'm done. And I had more yarn, so I'm not sure what happened there. So this is it. And the colorway is, I guess I don't even have a number. It's just purples, blues, and greens. And it's super cute. And I was wondering, what the heck am I going to make with this yarn? I wanted to show off the pretty pops of color all through it, and I didn't want pooling. So with this little slip, it's a free pattern. You knit and purl all the way around, and then the next round you slip 1 purlwise in front of that knit stitch, and then you purl the next stitch, and you just keep alternating those 2 rows throughout the whole cowl. So I like my cowls on the tight side. Oops, hang on. Because I want them to keep my neck warm. I don't sometimes wear them like a decoration. I want to, it can get cold. So I want something to stay up and keep me warm. But I'm a person that likes cowl necks. So if you don't like cowl necks, she did not do this design this tight. I actually made it this tight by casting on only 90 stitches. So that's my Slip It cowl. I might wind up putting my hat back on because look how my hair's crazy. You know what? I can't. It's very complicated to do things in reverse. It really is. Maybe one day I'll get it. Okay, and last thing that I have been working on are the plain vanilla socks, and I had these in my purse. I started these at knitting 2 Thursdays ago, so it'll be 2 weeks this Thursday. But I wound up having to go to the laundromat quite a bit. Come here, Buddy. You want to come up here? Because Buddy was being a bad cat, and Buddy made me go to the laundromat and wash some things. So I had plenty of time to knit at the laundromat. Right, Buddy? Where are you? Isn't he cute? He's sweet, and this is why I keep him around, because although he's a bit of a bad kitty, he is awfully cute. So this is my plain vanilla sock with the Santa Fe yarn again, and this is almost completely one ball of yarn. I have very little left, and I have just enough that if there's, for some reason, I have to make a darning section, I can. Although the only time that I screwed up these socks was when I went running in them. So I do run in bought socks now, because apparently the way and I don't run very much anymore. I pretty much just walk. But even if I'm walking like a lot, I may bust a hole in the toe. So I tend not to do that. But I squish something in there, even to the point where my toenails get all weird. So anyway, I think it's about 7 inches of cuff leg. I do the Eye of the Partridge heel instead of what she says. So the plain vanilla socks is by Carrie MC and then KIERNAN, and it's on Ravelry. It's a free pattern. So I do my heel a little different. I do the Eye of the Partridge heel, and then the rest of the pattern is hers. Perfect. They always come out fantastic. It's my favorite vanilla sock pattern, and it works great with this yarn. So, and I have a lot of it because I did get it on sale, and it wears like iron, and I like it a lot. So that's it for what's on and off the needles. Now, if you've noticed that green sweater's not on there, I haven't even touched it. I haven't had the chance to actually sit and work with it because I chose not to. I probably could have, but I chose not to. And already I'm looking at other things that I want to knit, because when I went and took photographs of everything, I'm like, oh, look at that yarn. I want to use that. I want to use this. I want to do all these things. That's kind of how I found the Lima. I'm like, you know, I'm looking at that. I'm like, what can I make with this? And then I see Emily's podcast, and I'm like, oh, it's like the peanut butter and the chocolate. And that, unless you're older, you're not going to remember this commercial. But there was, I think it was for Reese's Peanut Butter Cups 10 million years ago. The peanut butter, and somebody's holding peanut butter and somebody's holding chocolate, and then they walk into each other and the chocolate falls into the peanut butter, and then that's kind of what it's like for me when I find a yarn that matches perfectly for the project. It's like, oh, yay, finally, I've had this yarn and I want to make something with it, and I couldn't figure it out, and that just worked out perfect. It's kind of serendipity, you know. I didn't even see that hat pattern on Ravelry, and it's one of my favorite hats now. So the green sweater, if I get around to it, maybe, but I found some other distractions. So I have Ironstone Harmony in my stash, and I have 10 skeins of it. I went to Webb's yarn sale a couple years ago. They do a tent sale every May. It is, I don't know, like the 3rd week in May or something, and you can get some really good deals, and I think I got a really good deal on the Harmony yarn. And I did make a jacket out of it once before, a Vogue jacket, and I came across, I have 2 other colors that I can use. So I came across this pattern, an interweave called the Rome Tunic, And I don't have a front picture because there isn't one in this part that I printed out, and this is for me to actually make it. I have the downloaded version, or the CD version, so it's on my computer, so I can just print out the pattern as I want to make it. I had all the magazines, but I didn't want to keep magazines, so I wound up buying the CDs so that I have everything on my computer. It is easier for me. I can search on there, and it's less cumbersome to take around with you. And like I said, I'm moving, so I didn't want to take magazines. I'm actually cutting up my old Vogue magazines and scanning them so that I have those in my computer too, because I have years of Vogue, and nobody. Now he's in front of me. Come over here. It's just less cumbersome to drag all that over. I'm only taking a handful of knitting books with me, and I'm going to miss, I think, knitting books the most. Actually, I did cut some up. I cut up my sock innovation book by Cookie A because I love Cookie A sock patterns. I've made 3 of them so far, and although it's a small book, for me, it's just easier to actually, take the one I want and print it off and work from there, because then I have the book flat and I can mark off the chart patterns, and I don't want to mark up my book because if I want to make the sock again, and then I'd still be making a copy of it. So it's much easier for me to have it on there. So I did put Sock Innovations in there. I also have, what's it called? Oh gosh, All Around the World in Socks. Lovely book. Like, I don't do a lot of stranded, although I want to. I have plenty of yarn for stranded. I have these beautiful from Owool 2-ply for stranded work. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll do that, and I'm not doing it. So I need to get myself into doing that, but I wouldn't use that for the socks though, as it's 2-ply, but yeah, I'd like to dye my own yarn and make my own colors and do some stranded socks one day. One day I will do that. So anyway, Rome Tunic is, I swatched for it at knitting the other night, so it works perfectly with the needles called for. Maybe it, now I can't remember. Yep, 10s and 10.5s. Size 10. I think I did 2. I used a smaller needle, although it's not telling you that there's a smaller needle needed. Oh yes, it is. Okay, I didn't see it. So it actually worked, which is unusual for me because, I did those on wooden. I won't be making it on wooden needles. Usually I have to go down a needle size now because I've turned out to be so loose with my knitting. So anyway, this pattern will go by really fast. Chunky yarn knits up incredibly quickly, and there's no sleeves. No sleeves. Really quick. The other thing, I got out from the library French Girl Knits accessories, and I was thumbing through this last night before I went to bed, and I have a bunch of brooches and little clippy things, and I thought, well, what a cute way to use those, and if I just make a plain hat. And this is another like slouchy hat. It's just stocking knit, and then you just pull the slouch over and attach it. And I have black DK weight yarn. I have Miracle from, I don't know who makes it, I can't remember now, Classically or what's the other one? Cascade. I think it's Classically Miracle, and it's alpaca and tencel. It's tencel and something. It might be, yeah, it's alpaca and tencel. And I started to make a top out of it, and I ripped it out. I didn't like it. So I do have quite a lot of that yarn. Maybe I could make a hat and then make fingerless mitts or something with the rest of it. I have 5 skeins. So that would be plenty to make a small pair of wristers and a hat, and then this way for a more elegant outing, I could put a little clip in there and it'll be good to go. So that's what is up next. Oh, what did I do with my notes? Oh, here they are. Okay. I'm taking a long time. It's already 40 minutes. Sorry, I talk a lot. Okay, spinning. There is no spinning again. I'm glad I didn't even try to go for being a rogue spinner in the Spinzilla. I didn't realize until I started watching more carefully as time came closer that it's all singles, except for Yarnivore did. Sorry, Yarnivore. I watched her podcast yesterday, and she actually plied hers, but I guess the plying was just for her own self and not for the competition, because you're only supposed to do singles. And I don't like to just make singles and then have to take them off a bobbin and then figure out what to do with them later. I'm like her, where I would like to finish my completed project, but I kind of want things to sit, and I don't want to rush. I'm not in a rush to get through stuff. So I'm kind of glad I didn't do it. It's great that it brings awareness to spinning. But it's just, I think I probably would have more fun participating in the Tour de France, Spin de France. What do you? Oh my God! Now I don't even know what you call it. The what it's called, the spinning part. I'm sorry, and it's early. I have no excuse, because early morning I'm a lot better than I am later at night. Okay, but anyway, so go back to spinning. So I did go through all of my boxes. I have a bunch of boxes where I keep my spinning fiber from getting attacked by cats, because they do like it quite a lot, and they will take it and they will muss it up. And I put all of my nicer stuff in here that I bought in smaller quantities, things that I want to put in spindles, or things that I want to be very careful of how I spin it. And a lot of it is like nicer end fibers like yak and cashmere, and interesting combinations of yarn. And then I also have the bulk ones that I bought from Webs in the pounds that I had planned on dyeing. So I really need to dye it, because I did watch Deb Menz's how to do color dyeing just recently again for inspiration. And I do have the greener shades. It's just now a matter of me finding the time to do it. And right now I have a lot of house projects I need to work on, because I think I'm selling my house. So I have stuff I need to get done. So anyway, that's over there too. And then I have the big bulky stuff downstairs in the basement. All the fleeces are downstairs, and big bags of fiber. I also, that whole closet in there is all full of fiber. Well, not totally, but like the whole middle section, the top of two shelves are full of other stuff, but they're all in those little cubbies. You know, when you buy shoe cubbies or something, and you can hang that in your closet, it's all stuff with fiber. So I took pictures of everything, and the reason why I'm not adding it to Ravelry right now is because then you have to make a page for it. It's so much easier to just upload a picture. If I have to add all that, it's going to take forever, and I just don't have the time to play around with that right now. But I think it is helpful. It will be helpful in the long run to kind of keep track of what I have. I do have a spreadsheet, but it doesn't have the picture with it. And sometimes you forget, well, what color is that? Or do I have enough to like mix and match? So going through all of that was very inspiring for me to look at my spinning stash and go, no, I don't need anything at Rhinebeck. But yes, I need to play with the stuff that I have. And I have some beautiful stuff. And I also have all these fleeces to do that I have a drum carder. Like, what do I want to do? Do I want to add stuff? Do I want to make art bats? Do I want to try mixing fibers together? I've really got some beautiful fleeces last year. They're all washed, and they're all in 5-gallon buckets that I got at Lowe's, which was recommended by Judith McKenzie in her video that I got from, I get all the spinning videos from Interweave, and I bought that one. Is it called 3 Bags Full? I think it's called 3 Bags Full. Anyway, it was really nice. It was how to buy a fleece, how to take care of the fleece, and then doing the things afterwards. And she recommended putting it in 5-gallon buckets. And wow, you can stuff a lot of clean fleece in a 5-gallon bucket. Like, I had no idea. And this way it's not getting dust, it's not getting damage, it's not getting moths. It's clean. There's not a lot of oxygen getting at it. So I have a bunch of buckets downstairs full of fleeces. And then I put a mark on the outside, and I've taped a piece of fleece or like the card that it came with, and a little bit of something so that I can know what's in there. Yeah, so I've got a lot of stuff to play with, and I need to not buy new stuff right now. So I might get something at Rhinebeck, but I'm going primarily for inspiration and to see people. And if I'm finding that it's difficult on Saturday, I may not go on Sunday. So I'm not even sure if I'm going which days. So if you see me and you're there, please come say hello, because I don't know what any of you look like, and I don't know if any of you are around this area, but I'm not going to dedicate myself to the podcaster meetup just because I don't know what's going on with anything, and I don't want to commit myself to something that I later can't do. So I'm not sure. My intention is to go, but I may not go Saturday, or I may not go Sunday, and I may go whatever. So anyway, if you see me, say hello. So that's it for spinning. Let's see. Okay, so let's talk about tips. I told you about the baking soda and the vinegar. And okay, so we're going to talk about selenium. And selenium is very important to our bodies. And I didn't even realize how important until I started looking stuff up. And yes, I did get my information from Wikipedia for the extra stuff that I'm about to say, but selenium is very important for thyroid function. And how I know this is because I had a thyroid imbalance. I had a hormonal imbalance before, and I've corrected everything, and I've worked through that, and that's what I help people do. So selenium is a mineral that is, you don't really, it's in, how we get our selenium is through the food we eat. It's in the soil, the plant grows, it takes up the selenium, and then you eat the plant, you're eating the selenium that way. However, because of our farming practices, many things are not grown with selenium-rich soil anymore. The soil has been depleted, which is another reason to look for organic produce. It gets me really aggravated when people do exposés on organic food and, oh my God, there really isn't much difference for it. And, there really is. There's so many differences in organic food, not only just from the way it's produced, the effects of what the land is like, your body, the quality of life for the farmer who's producing the food. I mean, it's vast. So to just look at one little aspect and disregard everything else it's not looking at the whole picture. So when you grow organically, you're not depleting the soil. The soil has better nutrients, so you are getting more nutrients there. The farmer who is doing it is not harming himself with chemicals, or the farm workers who are producing these things. So the runoff from there is not polluting streams. The chemicals that are not being put on the plants are not hurting the bees. They're not hurting the butterflies. They're not hurting all these other ecosystems that need to be a part of our whole. So, I look at that part. And then the plants are usually grown with a lot more love and dedication than people who are not there. It's just like, I'm in my tractor spreading all this stuff and I could care less about anything. It's a different way. So you're getting, there's something to be said for how things are made. So when you are making your food, to make it with the intention of love, I know I'm going way off the subject now, but it's different than food that you've bought that is not made with love. It really is. I should put that, I don't know if we talked about it. Water, the Japanese man who did the study for putting the words on the water, and then the snowflakes or the crystals were either very beautiful or really crazy. Love really does play an important role in our body and how we do things. So when you choose to prepare your food or eat your food with a loving intention, it's better than being mindless about it and not caring about it. So way off tangent. Sorry, I didn't mean to go there with that. I wasn't planning on it, but it came to my mind. So anyway, going back to selenium, you can take supplements for selenium, but I've found that there are other ways to make sure you get selenium as well. And it ties into me thinking about going to Rhinebeck, because I don't eat a lot of the food at Rhinebeck because it's just doesn't make me feel good. I don't eat fried foods very much. I don't eat GMOs either, and that's a whole nother subject for another day. So in order for me to try to curtail that, I tend to purchase my own food, or when I do go out, eat at places that I feel may be serving food in this loving manner, maybe using foods that I know are not made from GMOs. Like I won't eat soy products. I don't eat soy products in general unless it's fermented soy. And then if it is a soy product that's fermented, it's going to be organic, because otherwise it's probably a GMO. This crop has been highly taken over by the GMO field, and I don't want to ingest that. The other crop, oh yeah, I'm talking about this. The other crop is, oh, I forgot. Sorry. So anyway, I went out with my friends when we were at Second Saturday, and I had a veggie burger, and I made sure that there was no soy, that they did not use a soy protein in there, because they used other beans. It was really good. I almost was like, am I cheating? It was a really good veggie burger. So anyway, I'm very careful about what I eat. So I decided to make some trail mix to take up with me, so that I don't get really hungry. We're going to talk about hunger too. Holy cow, it's 51 minutes. Okay, so selenium. This is a Brazil nut. Brazil nuts have the highest concentration of selenium in any food. And if you eat one of these a day, you're good. I mean, you know, you don't want to overload on selenium. So you don't want to eat like bagfuls of Brazil nuts every day, because that is not good either. So let's go back here, because I did write some notes about selenium. I knew that it was good for thyroid function, because this is something that I had looked up, you know, what foods are good for my thyroid. So, for thyroid function, and sorry, there's a fuzz. Deficiencies in selenium, I did not know this before. According to studies that have been done, that were cited on Wikipedia, a deficiency in selenium has been correlated to chronic diseases such as cancer, diabetes, HIV, AIDS, and tuberculosis. Now, that is not to say if you are deficient in these things, you are going to get these diseases. I think and let me just read the other part. And although supplementation trials did not show decreases in overall mortality, I think, and I didn't read the study, I just looked at it really quickly, the citation, just to make sure that it was an actual citation. Basically what I'm saying to you is if you keep your body healthy, you are less likely to be taking on any other diseases. There are environmental factors, there's pollution, there's things we put on our skin, chemicals that we get into our bodies. There's the foods that we eat that are contaminated with chemicals. There's also predispositions. There are many reasons why people can become unhealthy. So if we mitigate as many of these things as we can, the better off you're going to be. So if you're not taking a multi-supplement, and sometimes I do and sometimes I don't, I try to eat as good of healthy quality food as I can. And by that I mean I'm trying to buy organic as much as I can, foods that are grown locally, foods that are high in nutrient dense, rich foods. So I made my own trail mix, and in here I have Brazil nuts. They didn't have raw cashews, so I did get organic roasted cashews. I don't normally eat chocolate, but I put this in here just to see if it would taste good. And you know what? The mix can do without it. It's organic fair trade dark chocolate chips. Organic shaved coconut is amazing in these mixes. It actually, it brings out a lot of flavors of the nuts, so that you're not just munching on nuts and nuts and nuts. Organic Thompson raisins. We're going to talk about almonds and hazelnuts in a second. What else is in here? Organic pumpkin seeds. Aren't these cute? They're really super tiny. Oops. And I have something else in here. What is in here? Maybe I'll come to... Oh! I found at my natural store dried cranberries with no sugar. If you can find those, that is a fantastic treat to put in here. Please try to find the ones without sugar. And the reason why I'm making my own... Oh, it was canola. That's right. The reason why I'm making my own is because I went and started looking at some pre-made mixes. And, hold on. The other thing in here is ginger. Organic ginger. I need to find a piece, because that tastes really good in here. And ginger is really good for you, although it is candied ginger. It is organic ginger with organic cane sugar. So I don't advocate eating a lot of sugar, but a little sugar here and there, and I'm talking like little, we're going to talk about amounts in a minute, is not going to totally kill you. Okay, at least it's not like fake sugar made with GMO beets that are now super processed in your food. So what I want you to look for, if you could, when you are buying things like mixes, is the ingredient label, because you are going to find things like soy oil and canola oil in your trail mix. In trail mix, there's no reason for it. These do not need to have any added oil. And canola oil, again, it's from the rapeseed plant, and it is pretty much GMO, unless it specifically says organic canola oil, which really I wouldn't even cook with it anyway. Please don't eat it if you do not want GMOs. I can't force anything on you, but seriously, I do feel very strongly about this, so I'm trying not to invade you with my personal preference, but you think the problem with this is that you think you're eating something healthy, and then they're adding stuff to it that's not. It's very frustrating. You look at a lot of products on the shelf, and they all have some type of soy in it or canola oil in it, and I'm like, I can't eat this now. I will just make my own. So I didn't do a price comparison on this, but I have this huge bowl of this mix now, and it's going to last me a long time, and it's probably cheaper in the long run, and I have better ingredients. Mostly everything in here is organic, and there's no GMO in here, so I'm very happy with that, and it tastes fantastic. It really does. I gave some to my friends and they really liked it. Now if it's not roasted, you can, these are almonds and these are hazelnuts, you can pre-soak them, and this will aid in digestibility. If they've already been roasted, don't do this process because it's not really going to help you any. You just soak them in water. They plump up like beans do when you do beans. And then I've dried them in containers, just, like a light layer in a mesh thing. I dried them. I have a bunch of colanders, and I just dried them all in inch level, and they dry over a day, and then I threw them into the mix. So that's my tip. So my tip is about hunger and why I made this in the first place, so that if you are hungry and you can carry a small amount, you don't need to eat gobs and gobs of this, and I don't recommend it because it's too much of a concentrated food where we should be eating a lot more vegetables. But this is a great thing to take, little ounce snack pack sizes if you have them. You can keep reusing the little container, whatever you can find to put it in, and just throw it into your bag, your knitting bag or your purse or something, so that if you're really hungry, you have something to eat to tide you over. Because what happens when you're really, really hungry? And now you're starving, and so say your hunger is 0 is I'm not hungry, 10 is I'm starving to death. I usually do it the other way around. Sorry. So 10 is you're starving to death. When you're at an 8, are you going to be thinking about putting anything that's even remotely healthy in your body? Oh, we have another kitty. This is Catalora. Probably not. Probably not. You're going to eat the quickest thing, the fastest thing, the most easy thing to put in you, and it may not be something that you really would have made a choice for if you had been not so hungry. So when you're starting to feel that hunger pang and you know you don't have a chance to eat right away, having a little snack like this, an ounce, and I'm talking like a handful, that's it, is really good to take that edge away. And so is water. But remember we talked about water before? So sometimes you think you're hungry, but you're really not. And that happened to me the other day. And I didn't even think about it because I wasn't able to drink enough water. I had the tag sale and I'm running around. I'm grabbing a handful of nuts. I wound up eating too much, which is another reason why I'm talking about this, because I thought I was hungry and I really wasn't. What I was super thirsty. And then I started drinking water and I was like, oh my God, I feel so much better, because I was out of my routine. My normal routine, there's always a glass of water near me. But because I'm running in and out of the house and I'm talking to people, I didn't have my water mug with me. So, that's just a little tip. Notice if you're hungry or if you're thirsty, and if you're really hungry and you can't get a chance to eat, just grab a handful, but not 10, because I didn't feel so good. So Let me just see if there's anything else that I wanted to talk to you about. No, I think that that's it. So, the recipe is just making your own trail mix. So, equal proportions is good. Sorry, my computer keeps shutting off. Equal proportions is good of the nuts, and then you want to think about what your tastes are like. And you add the sweet things like the coconut and the chips or the raisins. Those are going to be more sugary items, so you want to go a little bit lower on those than you do on the nut part, because you don't really want to have too much sugar in your trail mix. This will help keep you a little bit more stable. Okay, so when you make your own, keep that in mind. The more of the fat protein versus the carbohydrate sugar part. Eating dried fruits is concentrated sugar, and then if you add those ginger slices in there, little ginger cubes, it's sugar. So, if you're hiking, you're moving around, you're running around, you can eat more because you're burning that up. But if you're just grabbing a small little handful to tide you over till a meal, less sugar is better. Okay? All right. Thank you very much for watching. Hope I get to run into some of you at Rhinebeck. And come here, buddy. Buddy wants to say goodbye. Wait till you see this face. Isn't he just the cutest little thing? He was doing all this cute little stuff before I started podcasting, coming over my shoulder, and he does this thing with his hands, his little paws all the time, to get my attention. He's my sweetie pie. Okay, so anyway, thank you again, and I'll see you after Rhinebeck if I don't see you there. Ciao!